So hey guys, welcome to an introduction video to my newest bicycle purchase. So what we have here in front of us is a 2015 Surly Krampus Ops 29 Plus. So I'm sure some of you are familiar with the 29 Plus concept, some of you aren't. Best way to describe it is it's in between a fat bike and a regular 29er mountain bike. So rim width, it uses 50mm rims with a 3-inch tire. So this was essentially what you'd get on a fat bike in the late 90s. This would have been considered a fat bike. So the idea being is you have some of the suspension effect and cush of a fat bike, but because it's a 29er, you have massive outer diameter. So you get that little bit of suspension cush, you get a big contact patch for grip, but you have even better rollover approach angle performance compared to a 29er. So I bought this bike specifically for a trail system that we have here. It's called Shunya Mines. It's really rooty, fairly rocky, technical, tight single track, and I'm on this kind of trend right now where I want simple bikes, my mountain bikes, to be simple. I don't want to deal with the maintenance involved with suspension systems. So I have a fat bike, and yeah, it's enjoyable to ride, but in the summertime I want something with a little bit more snap, something that's not quite as sluggish as a full-on fat bike. So I've had this now for I think about a week and a half. The first week I had it, I put over 300 kilometers on it, and I haven't used it for what it's actually designed for. I mean, it's a serious trail bike, but our trails are still covered with snow and ice, mostly right now, ice. And so I've been riding on the pavement. I've been riding some gravel roads with it, and it's a fun bike to ride in pretty much any type of riding. So there is some initial sluggishness similar to a fat bike, but not as bad. But it cruises along really, really nicely. It goes fast downhill. Rollover performance is awesome. So over cracks and potholes, that sort of thing, you don't have to worry about anything. You don't have to slow down for anything. It's a very simple spec. So SLX rear derailleur. I'm not even sure if they're SLX shifters since they aren't labeled here. So it's just a 10-speed rear. It's a single chainring in the front. One nice thing about the Ops model is they give you the Surly OD crank. So this is I think a fat bike design. So it's the same crank that's on my Moonlander. So in the future it has all the required braze-ons for a front derailleur. So oh yeah, one other thing with this bike was it was designed to accommodate these rims and tires, but to use as many normal bike parts as possible without getting into really, really specialized bike parts. So one of the reasons it runs a single chainring is because when you run double with regular cranks, etc., the chain on your easiest gear in the back will normally hit and rub the tire. So what they've done, and including the OD crank here, is if you use the Problem Saver, the same setup as a fat bike, you can run this 2x10, 2x9, probably 2x11 too, without having to worry about your chain rubbing at all. So I might consider that in the future. Gearing wise right now, I think it's a 33 tooth. So it's a 33 tooth with an 1136 on the rear, and it's actually a pretty usable gear range, especially since I've been doing some gravel road and paved riding. Because of the huge outer diameter in comparison to even a fat 29er, even with a 33 tooth, 3311, I'm not spun out till, geez, like 42, 43K an hour. So a wide range of usable gearing. The only issue I could see this summer is for hill climbing. You know, that's going to be reasonably tough for some of the hills that we have here. Not so, Shunya Mines isn't bad where I bought this bike for riding in. Lots of short, steep hills. But it's also attached to a trail system called Centennial Park, which has some tougher climbs. and that gearing might not be adequate. So it would be kind of the bike I would ride on days where I'm feeling strong and I want to ride hard. But that said, I could go with one of those big 40 or 42 tooth rings on the back. But there's a company called Praxis that will have for this summer a complete cassette with a 40 tooth easiest cog on the back without having to add on a cog. So it'll be a complete cassette with a 40 tooth on the back, and supposedly they say the pricing will be reasonable. It'll cost about the same as a regular Shimano XT cassette, so I might go that route instead of going with one of those big single tooths. That would solve my hill climbing issues with this bike. I have made some changes to it. So stock, I think it was only maybe 2-3 pounds lighter than my Moonlander. My Moonlander was stock, so it's not a light bike. I made a few changes here. So I went with the Thompson seat post. I had an old Yeti titanium rail seat that originally came on my Yeti that I never actually used. I went with some carbon bars from kind of a generic brand, but they were lighter than the stock handlebars, and my dealer had them in stock for a good price. Really lightweight neoprene grips. I changed the spacers to carbon fiber. I think that's all I did. That reduced the weight of the bike by, I think, almost 3 pounds. The main culprit weight with this bike is the tires. So, I mean, this bike in Canada is over 2 grand, but it comes with the 27 TPI version of the Surly Nardin. I'm not even 100% sure if they're Kevlar bead. Hopefully they are Kevlar bead. But these tires are over 1,200 grams each, so they're really heavy. The 120 TPI Kevlar bead version are 900 something grams, so it's a pretty substantial weight difference. So right now, this bike, we weighed it at the bike shop, and it comes in a little over 31 pounds. So to get it under 30 pounds, changing the tires and going to lightweight tubes will get me just under 30 pounds. So I don't think I'll do that right away. Basically, I'll wear out these tires. Maybe by 3/4 of this year, I'll have them worn out enough that I'll want to switch them. What else? Yeah, the other thing I'm really interested in for next winter, I think this will actually make a semi-decent winter bike. Like I was saying, I mean, in the middle 90s, late 90s, this was considered a fat bike. This is what was available. The widest rims are around 50 mils, and there was a company or two making 3-inch tires, but they were 26-inch as opposed to 29ers. So I think when conditions are really, really firm, I think this is going to make a super fun winter bike, because it's going to have a decent amount of flotation, but it's going to be way faster than a fat bike. The only other thing I'm hoping is that someone's actually working on studded tires. Yeah, so I bought it as a trail bike for technical single track that we have here. But like I said, it's actually, with the gearing, it's a pretty usable all-purpose bike. I will do some gravel road rides with it, combination of trail and gravel roads on the days that I don't want to ride my Fargo, because my Fargo is capable of that, but with the drop bars riding off-road, I mean, it's capable of it. That drop bar on the Fargo is actually designed as an off-road drop bar, but obviously there's nothing can beat a straight bar, flat bar for riding off-road. So yeah, I should have some adventures on this summer. The only other issue, because I'm not the tallest guy in the world, so it's a small frame. It's only a single bottle cage on it. There is a company in Alberta that actually does custom frame bags. My bike shop showed me their website, so you can basically tell them what bike you have, and they will basically build you a frame bag. I'm sure it's not cheap. I mean, the bag that I have on my Moonlander was a couple $100, so if they're going to custom make you one, I'm sure it's going to be in that price range. But if I had a frame bag, I could fit 2 large bottles in it, instead of just carrying one and having to figure out how to carry it, second bottle in another way. The other thing, I'll make another video in a day or two where I show you actually the differences in diameter on this. So I'll have these wheels, the wheels I have on my Fargo, which have a 2.3-inch Schwalbe Supermoto, which is a fat tire. Compared to this, I have a 27.5 wheel set, 26-inch wheel set, and then my the wheels on my Moonlander. So these are even a larger outer diameter than a 5-inch tire on a Moonlander. So yeah, it should be. I don't have my Fargo here right now. My Fargo is at the dealer getting the Lauf fork installed on it. So once I have that bike back, I can get all the wheels and lay them out and show you the difference in diameter. Because if you had never seen a fat bike before and you saw this, you'd be like, holy cow, that's a fat bike. I mean, the wheels are with the rim and the tire diameter, it's quite large, and it's just exaggerated on this bike too because it's such a small frame because it's the size small. But yeah, I'm rambling. So far, love this bike. Really looking forward to being able to use it what it's designed for, which is real off-road riding. But that said, it's actually a really versatile, fun bike to ride essentially all the time. Part of it being is these Nards it's a low rolling resistance tread, so they're actually reasonably quick on the road and they're quite quiet. You know, when this bike first came out, that said, even just maybe it's been out for 2 years. That was the only tire that was available that was compatible, but more and more companies are jumping into the market to build tires, and lots of one-off smaller builders are building 29er plus, but I think you'll see some of the other bigger companies jump on the 29er plus bandwagon as well, just like they did with regular fat bikes. So yeah, just an introduction video to my Surly Krampus Ops 29er plus. Awesome bike. Thanks for watching.